someone could have told me about dysfunction.
Yes.
Because we all got it. Just raise your hand if you got something dysfunctional. We all, and if you don't, you know what? Just give me a call after church and I'll help you find it. We all got it. I mean, as a matter of fact, the Bible says, Sister June, from the moment we were conceived, we were born. The Bible says we were born into sin. And guess what? You guys remember, it's an old movie. It's by Forrest Gump and Jenny. And all of what Jenny went through as a little girl, go and look up and watch it. Because of what her dad did, it started a spiraling down for her. And it created her. She started dancing with dysfunction. Yeah. She was looking, what Jenny wanted was what a father is supposed to give. Yeah. He's supposed to give her love. But what he did is he took Jenny, he emotionally and physically and sexually abused Jenny. Yeah. And what this does, it created a dysfunctioning in Jenny. Because all through Jenny's life, now Jenny is thinking that this was the right model. But there are some examples that are bad models for us, a bad example. And sometimes the first warning sign that you are dancing with dysfunction, the person that you are with, same person I'm with, they got an attitude problem. Sister June said mercy. Oftentimes in the church, on our jobs, and in our families, we have a tendency to overlook people who got bad attitudes. They are an impediment, and what we do, all we say, Sister June, is they've always been that way. Yeah. Well, shame on us and shame on them. Yeah. Yes. But I can understand this, Sister June, on the job. But when I grew up, Brother Houston, my mother used to say, "You can't afford."
That's right. That's right.
I had some old. She would say, "You got a what? You can't afford." Now, how is it that? Do you have to? She said, what she was saying, you ain't got a pot to. You do the math on that. That's what she was saying. And you got a what? And I'm feeding you, I'm clothing you.
Yes.
What did you? And you got a what? And that boy, you can't afford it, she said. So the first warning sign, you're dancing. Now let's get this clear, Demario. We all have bad days, Mother Bertie. But an attitude, there are some people, every time you see them, they have an attitude. That is dysfunction. And you know who they are, and I know who they are. Second warning sign, the person has a need for, anyone know anybody that they got to have attention? They got to have it all the time. Matter of fact, if you go to the bathroom, where you going? Where you going? I'm just going to the restroom. How long am I going to be in there? It's a need for attention. And sometimes the reason why we are dancing with dysfunction is because we need the attention that we didn't get when we were children, we didn't get when we were younger. So we have this need for attention. And so it causes us to shake, rattle, and roll with dysfunctional people. The third warning sign, and I love this, is that lets you know you are dancing with dysfunction. The person has an unaddressed addiction. Can I say this? We would overlook someone who is got an alcohol problem, a smoking, or whatever. They have a drug problem. They have this problem. They have a pornography problem. See, because it's easy. It's easy. It's easy. You know what? There's hundreds of addictions. You do know that, don't you? Yeah. Eating a whole cake, that's an addiction. Eating a whole pie, that's an addiction. You need to stop and say, I'm just treating myself. That's an addiction. So, when you are, guess what? Gossiping. Yeah. That's an addiction. Talking about people. There's all kinds of addictions. So we always have a tendency to focus on people who got drug problems and people who got alcohol. But there are all kinds. Matter of fact, what happens when addiction comes to the church? Which it does. And how are we going to respond? I'm going to get my fourth one, Brother Griggs. The warning sign, Sister Staples, we are dancing with dysfunction is right here in this text. The text says in verse 25, the individual has an anger. Anyone know anybody got an anger issue? Anger. Now, don't get me wrong. Jesus says clearly, Sister Grace, in the Bible that God's not opposed to us getting angry because it's an emotion. It happens. And even Jesus had righteous indignation because he was angry at what he saw in the temple. But the Bible is clear, Sister Grace. It says, in your anger, don't let it cause you to sin. Don't let the sun go down while you're still feeling that about that individual. So if you are dancing with dysfunction and this person, you may need to look at that. But I want to give somebody some good news. Dysfunction does not disqualify you. So I don't want someone to leave feeling sad and down and gloomy, because right here in this text we see that Abigail, she was with someone who was out of his mind. He was mean, he was ill-tempered, he had an evil spirit. But look at what God did to Abigail. God did not disqualify Abigail because Abigail had a relationship with God. But how do you and I move beyond dysfunctional relationships?